Okay, I'm going to call the City Council meeting to order. Would you all please stand and join me in the flag salute? Right hand over your heart. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And Shannon, if we can get a roll call, please.
Councilmember Villasenor.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Edmonds.
I'm here.
Mayor McCall.
Here.
Councilmember Simone Alex.
Here.
Councilmember Austin.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, and moving on to approval of the agenda.
I move to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. All right, we're going to move on to item number 5, and this is presentations. And the City of Fillmore has received, actually, more specifically, the City of Fillmore, on behalf of our lovely assistant city manager, that word was escaping me. And this is from the California JPIA, and this is a 2022 Risk Management Award, which was awarded to the City of Fillmore, and this is for best overall performance for our workers' compensation program. So I just want to heartily thank our lovely Erica. And she does just the most amazing job for the City of Fillmore. We are so blessed and so thankful to have her here. She does so much. She goes way above and beyond her scope of duties to make sure that we are represented, to make sure that we are on time for things, and we are just very, very grateful for all that she does for us. So if you want to meet me at the podium, I'd be happy to hand this to you. Okay. All right, so we're going to move on to item number 5, public comments. I do have a few speakers, so we have a 3-minute limit. The yellow light does work. It'll warn you at 1 minute, so just so that you know what you're doing. I hate cutting people off without giving you that warning first. So first speaker tonight is Brandy Hollis, if you want to come on up.
Hi, everybody. All right. Well, let me tell you, I have been heated and angry, and I've really sat back and haven't come in here for the last few weeks because I realized coming in here heated and angry is not going to fix the problem that we have going on in Fillmore, which is our homeless population is growing every single day. And I figured if I come in here mad, that's really not going to solve anything. It's not going to solve anything for you guys. It's just going to let me get it off my chest. So I've really been praying about it, thinking, what can we do? And I understand there's no immediate solution. There's not one. If I had one, I would have offered it up a long time ago, and so would everybody else. But I want to know it does come from a place of compassion. Actually, my best friend's brother died on the 24th of last month, homeless. They found him in a bush, unfortunately, in Ventura. So I'm aware of the problems that we're facing, mental health being a big one. And I'm not talking about people who are down on their luck and probably are staying in their car, trying to find a shower, get to work, get their kids to school. I'm talking about the absolute, and I know the term's not politically correct, but the vagrants we have in town. I was told by Garrow here, his assistant, that we don't have violent homeless in the city of Fillmore, and I beg to differ. On July 29th, my friend was assaulted with a knife to her neck. The woman was arrested with a assault with a deadly weapon. She's back on the streets and roaming around Fillmore as we speak. I think I got a picture of her yesterday. So she's back on the streets in here. I understand also how quickly mental health can go from schizo, seems fine, how quickly schizophrenia with the use of drugs onsets actually back on, it'll be 15 years this Friday. I worked in the city of Newbury Park. Somebody with a mental health disorder came to my work and actually used a meat cleaver and chopped up a 6-year-old boy. So I understand PTSD. I suffered from it myself. I've
Just
seen
30
it
seconds.
live in action. So what we're trying to do is get together a way to help in Fillmore. We started a group called Project Help at Fillmore. I've been working with the Sheriff's Department, Gloria from RISE, trying to find a solution. We have a lot of homeless who actually would like to go to a bed. It's just transportation. Maybe the city can work to get some shower pods and backpack medicine through the county, help identifying these people. We placed one person in a shelter in
Time's
Santa
up.
Paula, but I'm out of time. But I do have pictures for you guys. Can I share them?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, great. I also included my information on the green card, so.
If you just hand it to Shannon, Shannon can pass them out. She can hand them down. That'd be great. Okay. Thank you very much, Brandy. Okay, next we have Miss Lonnie Farr.
This is kind of a good and a bad.
It's okay, we'll take it.
Okay. So anyway, I'm Lonnie Farr, lifelong resident, forever here. Not going to leave. I think the next residence will be Bardsdale. Anyway, so what I want to do is just give kudos to two people that pretty much have a thankless job, and that is Krista Martinez and Sandra Edwards, the Parks and Rec. It's interesting and I've had to stop watching like Nextdoor apps and all that because they pretty much bash them they try to do a lot of good for the kids. They try to bring in programs. The thing a lot of citizens don't understand is that there are things that have to be done in order for them to get, approvals for different activities. They put out an activity for the summer, and it was like going to La Brea Tar Pits, the Getty Center, all these great places. And a lot of people had already put their kids into things because by the time the city put it out, it was already end of May. And most of the camps and everything want their kids in roughly someplace around February or March. They're taking applications. So they've tried. I feel for them because they work hard, and Parks and Rec is not a sit inside the office type thing. Be great when they will eventually, because I know that the city's going to be doing where you can pay online and they can get, parks secured for people that want to have parties and everything. But the biggest thing is that, and I know that because the swimming pool is my big thing, I know that we're getting ready to repave it and everything, but I know that we're having problems with when they're trying to calculate the chlorine in the morning. And apparently the pump regulator, which is kind of the brains of the pool, is starting to fail. And it's roughly, I think I've heard a couple of people say randomly, about $30,000. I don't know if we're waiting for the pool to be taken care of first to put in something like that.
It's 30 seconds.
But it's just, it kind of falls on deaf ears. And so we've missed a few days that we haven't gotten to go in the pool in the morning. So anyway, but I wanted to say thank you to Krista and Sandra because they put things out, and I don't think even people realize there's a kiosk out here on City Hall. So anyway, but thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you. Okay. So I have two speakers. I don't know, do you ladies, I can call you up together and let everybody know who you are, and then you can take a few moments and introduce yourselves. So these two ladies are Karina Forsyth and Anna Marie Riley. And both of these ladies were appointed by the City of Fillmore at our last council meeting as liaisons to the VCAA, which is the Ventura County Advocate on Aging.
Correct.
I think that's the way it is. So if you would both just like to give us a quick introduction about yourself, that'd be great.
Okay, I'm Karina Forsyth, and I understand that we were on the agenda last meeting for introductions, and we weren't here. Not a very good impression. So I'm here basically to introduce myself, so you can match a face with a name. I'm very honored to have been appointed to this position. I think it's I know it's a very important position, especially among elders who are typically underrepresented and don't have much of a voice. And I'm looking forward to meeting them, working and meeting the community. Tomorrow we will have our official orientation, and we have a date to meet the current director who's been off for a while, so she can brief us on the center and its needs and so forth.
Good.
Hi, I'm Anna Marie Riley. I'm very excited to be here, and it's such an honor to be here and to serve our seniors. And I'm excited to really just get to work.
Well, we really appreciate you both. Thank you for throwing your hat in the ring and representing Fillmore.
Thank
we
you.
really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and our last speaker is Sean McCulley.
Howdy, everybody. I was asked just to give a brief update on the Downtown Grant Rehab Program. Just for the audience out there, that's $300,000 that's being dispersed among the businesses that are along Central Avenue, up to $12,500 per business. David and Erica have both walked around to all the businesses and handed out the applications for it about a month or so ago. Kyle Wilson and I, Kyle Wilson is from Edward Jones, walked around a couple of weeks ago and talked to about a dozen building owners and things like that. And they're all interested in the program. Most of them were aware of the program. There's a couple of them that weren't. We have ironed out a few kinks that were in the program initially, where we needed to have 3 contractors bids per business. We ran into problems getting contractors to return phone calls and actually show up. I had people cancel at the last minute, things like that. So going forward, it's upon the business to make a good faith effort to get 3 contractors. If they're not able to get all 3, at least have documentation that they made the effort to do so, ideally through emails and through phone calls, and things like that. So that's helpful, especially for somebody like me who has essentially 3 businesses that are going to be a part of this program. And like I said, getting contractors to show up and return phone calls can be difficult. And also making sure that they actually have a license can be difficult as well. But the people that have responded to the program are very enthusiastic about the program. They're looking forward to it. La Fondita is sort of the first one that's kind of gone through the entire process. I'm about to send the paperwork to you. At some point, Eric and I are sort of tag teaming because it turns out people don't read the instructions to turn these things in. And they're supposed to go through Fillmore Association of Businesses, as sort of a screening process, and sometimes they skip that step. And Erica was saying that one application has been submitted that was incomplete. So we're hoping to, again, educate people, a little bit better on the process that the program does exist. There's still a few more businesses that I know I need to talk to, but that's pretty much where it's at. So hopefully we'll be able to, get the thing moving forward and get Central Avenue, going and stuff like that. Was that good?
That was great.
I didn't know exactly what to say because we had ironed out a lot of problems that I was running into, and I would call David or I'd talk to Erica. I was like, I don't know what to do here. But they've been very, very helpful, and communicative in getting the program going. So appreciate that. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so that's the only speaker cards that I had. If anybody else in chooses to speak, now's the time. Okay. We're going to move on to the consent calendar.
I move the approval of the consent calendar.
I second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. All right, we're going to move on to item 8 and new business. We're going to go to item 8A, and this is the consideration of an approval of parcel map 21-01. I'm going to turn that over to staff.
Hi, good evening. It's Roxanne, your city engineer. Good to see you. Okay, so we are here to approve the parcel map number 2101. This is based on the approval of tentative parcel map 2101, which was approved by the Planning Commission in April of 21. It authorizes the subdivision of that property at 803 Ventura Street, which is where the old, formerly known as Family Dollar site was, that now has been turned into Red Engine Brewery. And the vacant parcel next to the brewery is all on one big parcel of land. And this map divides it into 2 parcels of land. Parcel 1 will have the Red Engine Brewery. Parcel 2, the vacant land that's undeveloped right now, but will be developed. And actually, there was an application. So the map started, long ago, and it goes through a lot of technical review and different surveying and everything, and during the time that the map was going through review, they got an application in and went through entitlement with what's going to be a Popeyes now, right, on the easterly parcel, which is parcel 2. So the timing of it is, as it was going through the initial map review, we have been requiring from all the businesses along the highway this dedication of a parcel of land to the city for future road widening of Highway 126 Ventura Street. On this one, when the map went in through the technical review, the county surveyor called me and said, you can't do that. The driveways will be, there won't be, direct access to parcel 1 or parcel 2 across the city parcel, because it's not a street right of way, it's a parcel of land given to the city for future street right-of-way. And so then it was like, well, where do we put the access easement? Because back then Popeyes was just starting through. So now Popeyes is kind of caught up, and it's kind of like, why aren't we doing all of this in one spell? So it's timing is the answer. And so there's an irrevocable offer of dedication for that 14-foot wide parcel of land on the map, which we are rejecting on the map cover sheet. When you do that and it's an irrevocable offer, it will remain offered for 20 years, and nothing can change that if the land changes hands, if anything happens. At any point, the city can file a paper and say, we now accept this, and the property changes hands. And so the plan here is, we already know where the driveway to Red Engine Brewery is, but we didn't know the Popeyes. Now it's actually in plan check and may be built in a few months. So during plan check, we'll get those easements drawn up. And once the driveway is physically installed, that's when I'll record the easements for access and accept the offer. So I'll be bringing an item back to you probably by the end of the year to go ahead and accept that parcel of land, but we'll be recording easements so that we don't landlock those parcels. So otherwise, it's pretty straightforward, just taking one big property and making 2 smaller properties. So the other thing about it is that once they become the 2 properties, then Popeyes can, complete their work, and they're conditioned, both properties, to give reciprocal access easement, because there will be a driveway connecting the 2 parking lots as well. And that'll happen during, prior to occupancy. So I think that's the gist of it, everything in my staff report. I'll entertain any questions.
Any questions for staff? Any motions?
I motion that we approve parcel map 2101 and authorize the mayor to sign the map and for the city clerk to record the map with the county recorder's office.
I second it.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Roxanne. Okay, we're going to move on to item number 8B. This is the 9th amendment to the agreement for 341 A Street. I'm going to turn that over to staff.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the council. This is a 9th amendment to an agreement. The first time the city entered into agreement was in November 2019, and it was with a new property owner who inherited a piece of property with tenants already in the building, but those tenants didn't have any permits. He didn't inherit it as if someone gave him the land. He inherited the tenants that were there. Anyway, the city entered an agreement that said, hey, you're allowed to continue to operate, but no new tenants can be in the building. You need to satisfy safety issues, number one, and then submit an application for those tenants and future tenants. So the developer has been submitting all the safety requirements. They submitted plans, they're under construction, and it is being inspected. So all the safety items are occurring, and we had to extend many agreements to allow for that to happen. The deadline for that is October 22nd, 2022. We'll see if they meet that deadline. We're having difficulty with COVID and chain of supply and all that stuff. Separate from that is an application for all the tenants there. That has not been submitting, they have not been moving forward. So I'd like to extend them another deadline. That particular deadline originally had a separate deadline from the safety items, and I'd like to combine the two so they have the same date, which would be October, to submit an application. They do have an application with me, but they didn't submit fees and they didn't submit plans. I have plans that are out of date that no longer apply, and it's not what they desire. So we're asking to extend another extension for October. We will get all the plans, we will get all the fees. I'm confident, and this is an applicant who's been fulfilling these items. So with that, I recommend that we extend to the 9th Amendment, I believe. Thank you.
Any questions for staff?
I'll take any questions you may have.
I do have a question. Thank you,
Yes.
Kevin. In the staff report, you mentioned the parking plan, conceptual plan, CUP application, development permit application, civil plans, utility plans. Are all of those still not turned in, or is there a number
not turned in.
None of those are turned in?
None of them are turned in.
And we're saying that giving them an extension till October 22nd for those. Can I ask you, have you been asking for those plans for how many, either years or months?
Well, we started in, they submitted the original plan in December 2020. From that point to present, they have not submitted the plans.
22, about 18 months.
Right.
Okay.
Right. They've been focused on the safety items.
There was a lot of those.
There's a
There
lot of
was a
safety
lot.
items, and
They've
then when
done a
they were
lot of
under
work.
construction, because
Yep.
it's an old building,
Yep.
it required them to revise plans, resubmit. We had to do that many times, because then they discovered things while they were under construction. So that's taken considerable amount of time.
Okay. This was kind of a rat's nest building.
And then
Yeah.
one last question on my end is, you had mentioned a 9th and final extension. I think it was in the request.
Yep.
So, I mean, is that what you're anticipating?
Yes, I'm trying to apply pressure on them. When the applicant realizes that the city council and city staff is aware of the project and is monitoring it, then they perform. Right? When they understand that nobody's monitoring them and no one's pushing to get things done, it will never get done. So I am going to be talking with them, emailing them, and we're going to try to get this done. Yeah. We may miss the date, but that's not my goal. My goal is October, and I'm going to make our goal their goal.
Thank you.
Well, at least I know they're working out there. I see them all the time.
They are. They're there all the time.
Yeah, they're out there. They'll be replacing all the windows. They did not think they were going to have to replace every single window, and they had to turn in plans for every single window. So, yeah, they're just uncovering things that they have to do.
I
each time.
appraised that building 15 years ago. I mean, what a disaster it was then.
Yeah.
I have a question. How confident are you that it will happen? And is it the 20th of October or 22nd of October?
It's the 22nd, which is a Saturday.
Yeah.
I'm confident. They have a good architect. We just needed to improve the communication between myself and the applicant. We've been focused on safety stuff, and it's now time for us to move forward on the application.
Yeah.
I am confident
Okay, good.
the application will be submitted
Okay,
before
good.
October.
Well, let's hope so, because that's a
Yeah.
lot of work to get done and then not be able to be successful with it. So on everyone's part.
Yep.
Okay, any other questions or motions?
I motion to approve the Ninth Amendment to the agreement with the property owner.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. All right, item 8C, and this is adoption of a resolution authorizing the filing of claim for transportation TDA funds for 2022-2023. Going to turn that over to staff.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. This item is the annual Transportation and Development Act funds claim with VCTC. And the total claim is for $795,756. This is the LTF funds, local transportation. The claim is, the funds come in as transit claims, and basically the BCTC goes through a process where they determine the transit needs of the community, and based on the outreach that they've done through to the community, they arrive at that the transit needs for remaining, which is through the providing service through the Valley Express. So the remaining transit monies that need to be spent for the transit operator are $277,721.83, and the remaining can then be used for road and street repairs. So, and that would be $518,034.17. And so, if you have any questions?
Any questions for staff?
I do.
Okay, Christina?
Yeah, thank you. So my question, Roel, thank you for the staff report, is on the 518K on the Form A, the claim form, Transportation Development Act. It's page 76 of the staff whole agenda.
Yes.
It's combined streets and roads / pedestrians and bicycles for the 518-034. And then on the next form, Form B3.1, we've got line item number 6, streets and roads, the full 518, and then a zeroed out for pedestrian and bicycles. So I just wanted to know, was that it's two different things. So sorry, don't mean to interrupt, but one last thing is, are we claiming that the 518 can also be used for some pedestrian and bicycle funds? That's my question.
Based on the 8A, Article 8A, there is, you can use it for pedestrian and bicycle paths.
Okay.
I'm not sure what I think there's a limit to how much you can use.
Right.
So I can find out and report back.
I just want to make sure it was, like I said, on Form B3.1, it looks like it's zeroed out, and I would like for us to have that opportunity to, when we're looking at these 518 plus change, to have the ability to maybe apply some to pedestrian or bike improvements.
Are you speaking of line 7 or line 6?
Yes.
Yeah, I think I am. Yeah, I see a dash mark there under the claim fiscal year 22-23. So I guess maybe there wasn't a set amount maybe that we knew yet, so maybe that's why there's a dash there, but I just wanted to make sure.
Let's see. There is an additional amount that we will get for bicycles and pedestrians, and let's see. So in that other form, that's where that would go, but we haven't gotten that the amount yet. And usually that will be like 13,000.
Okay.
I think in the past couple of years, it's been like
Okay.
around 13,000 a year.
But, so along with maybe that extra set of funds that you're talking about, there is still potential, if we wanted to have more funds, to take part of this 518K? Since
That
that's
is
part of the plan.
my understanding.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Thank you for that.
I had the same question, but I want to be sure that by passing this, it's not limiting us from using the money for bikes or pedestrians, and that decision will be made at a later time. Is that accurate?
Yes, the VCTC, they provide us with a different, we should be getting a different allocation letter for the bicycle funds.
So it's a different
know, but-
bucket of money. It's coming
No,
out
but-
of a different bucket of money, basically.
I think it's the same, I'm
Yeah,
not sure
it's
exactly how
different.
they, do those allocations, but I did communicate with the staff there, and basically they assured us that, I did ask if we should fill in the line for the bicycles and the pedestrians, and I was assured that we would get a separate allocation specifically for that.
Well, the reason, sorry, Lynn.
No, go ahead.
Sorry. The reason I'm asking for this is that it does look from our last year, the funds have gone up. I think we were in 470-some thousand last year, and this year, it's, what is it? total?
Right.
518.
No, actually, total, if you include the transit, it's 790,
Right.
795, so it's almost like 300 grand more.
Yeah.
So I just want that to be acknowledged, and again, if we want to use some for pedestrian safety, just want to see if it was available within this grouping, beyond the 13K.
Yeah, I think the clarification is the pedestrians and bicycles included in the 518,000? Or are
It
we
is.
getting that above and beyond? Are we getting like 13,000 above and beyond the 518?
There is an above and beyond
Okay.
allocation
Yes.
that we haven't received yet.
Okay.
Now, my understanding is that you can use the 518 or part of that in addition
addition.
also.
Yeah, okay, okay.
Yeah, that was my question.
Okay.
To be sure that we, at another time,
And-
because it's going to cost more than 13,000 to improve our bicycle lanes and
Yeah,
our
there is
bicycle passage, and
that's the TDA fund, so the city can meet, with other funds.
so it's up to us at another time to revisit this, to be sure that we decide where that money will go. This doesn't
You mean the
cancel
other
that.
allocation?
No, this allocation could also be
Oh.
used for bicycles and pedestrian.
I'll have to find out how much of the 518 we can use.
Okay.
And then we can inform you when we get the specific allocation for the bicycle.
So it'd be the
and pedestrians.
13,000 or somewhere around there,
That's what
plus
we
some from
recall
the
from-
518.
From last year, because we have a separate fund
Right,
just for that,
right.
and this doesn't include that money.
Except it does, that's the question here. Under 7, it has it as an item, we just haven't
It's a
put it in
separate
there.
item, I see that.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it at first when the
Right.
question was asked, but I'll check into the, again, the 518, if we can use that for, and I think when you have sidewalks that are, when you're doing streets, that's where you can use it within road and street repair money. But then there's that separate allocation that we will get for the bike pass. I think it's no, it's a pedestrian and bike pass. So that comes together. And that we haven't received yet.
Except if you look, I'm not trying to be argumentative, I just want to get it clear.
Sure,
On page 76, item 11, Article 11, line 11, Article 8A, streets and roads, pedestrians and bicycles, 518,000. So it's included in that, in addition to the 13,000, but it didn't show that when you move it over to the other page on 77. That's what confused me. So I just want to be sure that by voting for this, we're not eliminating the possibility of also using it for bike paths or pedestrian safety.
Should we table?
That's, again, we're going to get a separate.
Yes, but this would be in addition, 13,000 isn't going to do much for
Right,
bicycles.
Okay, so I think what we do is we address all of these funds once a year. This is a housekeeping item. We see this year after year after year. So
Right.
once a year, we then go through, okay, this is the bucket of money that we have. And we then allocate based on need. We do the assessments through the county, and they give us our whole assessment needs of all the streets, and that's how we prioritize how we spend the money. We just did that, 2 months ago? It was very recently. I can't tell you when, but it was very recently. So these funds are moving forward. This is the 2022, 2023 allocation, so these aren't
Yes.
going to be spent anytime soon. So by approving this, you would then need to go back and figure out how much of this we could allocate towards bikes versus pedestrians or whatever. We don't necessarily want to hang this up because this is county money that's coming to us. So we don't want to go, oh, let's just table this and talk about bicycles later. That's
Right.
probably not the thing to do.
Basically, the claim is to receive the total of the 795.
Right.
So that they will start cutting checks.
Right.
If you will, to us.
Right.
And here we're separating the 277
Mm-hmm.
because we already have a bill for the transit operator, so we need to pay that.
Right.
And so we're asking them to take it from the top so that the transit cost will be paid. The other monies for the bicycles, the pass and the sidewalks, that can be part of any internal changing of budgets and whatever. I mean, we're setting aside, I think, the budget for this year is $1 million. And I'm not sure, that's the street and road repair, but I'm not sure if that does include any sidewalk repairs, so I don't know.
Okay, so what I think we need to do is I think we need to move forward on this item. We need to approve the item, or not, but we need to figure out what we're going to do with this item. Bicycle, all that is great, but I think we need to address that as we go to spend these funds, not right now. That is a separate issue. I understand the question. It's a great question, and it's something for you to go back and go, okay, so out of this 518, this is what we are allowed to spend on that. So let's stick this in a separate category so we have the ability to choose how that's spent at a later time.
Right.
That is a separate issue rather than tabling this for that.
Right, again, this is to initiate the claim from the CTC to the city.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, so based on that, any other comments?
I'd like to make the motion that we adopt the attached Resolution 223896, authorizing the city manager to file a claim with the Ventura County Transportation Commission for the allocation to the city of $795,756 of Transportation Development Act funds for fiscal year 22-23, and authorize that the transit operator Valley Express be paid by VCTC with $277,721.83 of the claimed funds.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you very much, Earl. I
Thank you.
appreciate that. Okay, so we're going to move on to our next item, and I just lost it here as
8D.
Erica walks forward. 8D, and this is another resolution, and this is regarding fines for violation of the animal control regulations. Bad. I'm going to turn that over to Steph.
Good night, Mayor and Council. I'm here tonight to request approval of the adoption of the fee schedule from the county. The reason why we are requesting to adopt the county's fee schedule is because, as you're aware, they provide our daily animal services. And so in May, you recently approved updating the ordinance so that it would be parallel to what the county is enforcing. And so as part of that process, we had discussed the citation administrative procedure as well. And so after further doing investigation, we are currently utilizing Data Ticket to help us process all of the parking citations. And I reached out to other cities, and they're actually utilizing Data Ticket as well for the administrative citations regarding licensing and non-vaccination. Turns out that thankfully we didn't have to go and try to amend the contract, because that type of citation is something that falls under the same umbrella as the parking citations. And so after discussing with them, they would be able to create a sub-unit so that we could have better control financially of what we are following up with and what's coming back, if you approve that tonight. But during the conversation, I noticed that our fee schedule didn't address the citation amounts, hence why we're here today. And so I've done a really rough estimate of what the financial impact of that would be. I probably would have a better understanding after we've done this for a full year. I can come back and say, this is how much we're looking at. My estimation was based on requesting the county for a report of the actual outstanding licenses that we've had for the past year, and then also the non-vaccination status. And then we went ahead and calculated that data. I took away all of the fees that will be associated with Data Ticket, and we're looking about, in a perfect world, and being conservative, about 50% of what was anticipated, to bring back about $7,000 if we move forward with that process. And so if you approve this tonight, we would be looking at making this one of those yearly processes. So at the time that I bring the service level agreement for your approval, then we would be bringing also the fee schedule for adoption, and then that's how we would be making sure that we're staying on top of that. So that's in a nutshell my presentation. I'm here to entertain any questions if you have any.
Any questions for staff?
I have one. What happens, it mentioned in your report, how many people are delinquent in filing them, and that is an easy one to follow up on. How do we follow up on the many dogs that wander around that don't have any collars or any IDs, or how is that included in this, and if so, how?
So we could probably start getting a better handle on it, because we do receive the invoice, and Dave and I have had discussions previously about some of the addresses that we see that are repeating on the invoices, but this is completely a separate process.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Any motions?
I move to approve Resolution 223895, number 1, establishing an administrative fine for violation of the city's annual animal control regulation in Title IX of the Fillmore Municipal Code, and number 2, amending the city's uniform schedule of fees to include animal service-related fees.
I'll second that.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much, Erica. Okay, item 8E, and this is the item on the American Rescue Fund plan funds, and it's the second part of the funding. I'm going to turn that over to staff.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Tonight we're asking City Council to discuss the proposed spending plan for the second half of the city's allocation from ARPA funds. As you recall, the city is receiving around $3.7 million, and those funds are lower than the $10 million threshold, so the city can use those for any government operation. With that, the funds need to be committed by December 31st of 2024 and need to be expended by December 31st of 2026. Any funds that are not expended would need to then be turned back into the government or federal government. City Council earlier this year allocated $1,898,221 to various projects earlier. With those projects, we've entered into contracts with the Boys and Girls Club, finalized their contract, the Spirit of Santa Paula, the downtown enhancements. I heard a little bit about that today. We got that started. We've got the customer service projects started as well, and we also currently have the Big Brothers Big Sisters donation for their van, working with them to finalize their contract with us. The other items are still being reviewed with recommendations from the Parks and Recreation Commission for various items out there, and also for the dog park, which we should receive back later on. We did receive our second allocation in July of this year. We did meet with the Budget Ad Hoc Committee again to discuss how to spend this portion of the funding. This time we really focused in on the items that we passed up on the first one, just looking at taking care of our house, our buildings. One of the things you're allowed to do is take a look at administrative fees. We're taking 10% administrative fees. That'll cover city attorney's time, city staff time dealing with the contracts, paying for RSG, who is implementing and tracking the changes for us to keep us on the positive side with the government, and those expenditures for reporting administrative stuff with ARPA. In addition, we're looking at replacing the City Hall HVAC system and also the roof replacement. Just so you know, today the air conditioning froze up, had to undo it, and when it got undone, it started leaking through the roof in the upstairs lobby. City building roof replacements would take place at the Active Adult Center, the Boys and Girls Club, and the police station. And we asked staff if those could be put off, and they said those are all need to be replaced as soon as possible. City Hall elevator repair, City Council has approved the repair. A recommendation at that time was to use the ARPA funds to help pay for that. There'll be approximately $200,000 for that. And then also taking a look at City Hall Plaza and building repair. Take a look at the railings out front, the bricks. You see some of them are wobbling in front. Look at the stairs and the sign of the building where the facade's at out there. Come out here and take a look at that. Allocating at this point in time $150,000 for that overall project. We do not have a total cost for that, but that's what we're kind of putting off to the side, and we'll start with that. Excuse me. So we're looking at a total request of $1,841,248, which would leave $265,891 in the fund for us to discuss other projects. And as we mentioned earlier, if we go through other projects and they're not approved, or we don't see a lot of activity in terms of the downtown rehab or the city's portion of the downtown rehab, we'll come back and talk to City Council and how would you like to reallocate those funds at a later date and time. And we're planning on doing that every 6 months, just so we give an update and see if we'll continue on or end any of those programs. So at this time, staff is recommending authorize the City Council to approve the list of items.
Okay, any questions for staff?
I have a couple of questions or comments. If the monies is intended, I mean, we're allowed to do a lot of things, but the money is intended to help replace the funds that we are lost during the pandemic for either ourselves or for people in the community or for programs in the community. And I understand that all of this is very important, all the roofs particularly. But I feel that we're not being wise with our expenditures if we are using this money for what should be ongoing maintenance. It should have been, instead of saving all of this to be done in 1 year, we should have done 1 or 2 every year over the last period of years, or start now with 1 or 2 and do 1 or 2 a year, either with the reserve monies, and I don't know what our reserve is at this point because I wasn't on the budget committee, but or to use it with ARPA monies, but not such a large portion that goes for roofs. And so if you were to prioritize which one of those are the worst, what would you find it to be? Which could you prioritize? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
Can I just jump in real quick? Because Christina and I met with city staff on this. We've been on this subcommittee for a while. The first allocation of money went pretty much all for parks. This was all things that came up the first time around. We chose to put this off because we wanted the money to go to the community. We did parks, we did, all the things that we did the first time around, downtown, everything else. So this second part of the money, as us, as the subcommittee with Dave and Erica, it was allocated for this because these are things that need to happen.
And I believe these items were already discussed the first time
They
around
were.
when we were talking about it.
We discussed these
We had
items.
discussed them, we didn't approve them, however.
Well, we were setting the money forward to use it
Perhaps.
for these projects.
Right.
Perhaps.
Okay, well, I'm just letting you know that Christina and Dave and all of us talked about this, and this is what we came up with, and this was presented to council at one point previously as all the things that needed to happen. So this is how it fell. This is our recommendation.
Well,
okay.
I see that it is contributing to the infrastructure of Fillmore, which is really important. It has a diversity of different places that the money is going to go. And I think that I agree there does need to be regular maintenance of, we can't allow things to become so dilapidated that, we have all of these issues. But I think now we have the opportunity to press the reset button on all of these different items. So.
You want to say something more, Lynn? Okay. So I just wanted to chime in too and say that, along with Diane, we met and we talked about these, and they are infrastructure, and they are things that also benefit the community. Like just looking at the Active Adult Center roof, the Boys and Girls Club roof, in City Hall in general, right, where the people meet, right, to come. This is where our city has our discussions. We make decisions, so it's very important as well. So that is, and we talked about how the first tranche of the funds went to parks. However, I do just want to put out that the park funding did not come through for a particular grant that we applied for. So I think in terms of the total park funding that we have, am I right, Dave, in that it is $410K that the Parks and Rec Department is looking at right now? And I believe we got an email about sort of their wish list or priorities.
That's correct. They have $410,000 for, if you will, equipment, restrooms type of thing.
Okay.
Then there's a separate $100,000 for the dog park.
For the dog park, okay. Not getting the grant funding, I think it's worthy for us to look again at our funds here through ARPA, because I hear where Lynn is coming from as well, and I think it's an opportunity to ask that question, or like Simone mentioned, where, if ARPA didn't exist, right? If ARPA didn't exist and we had all these needs, where is that button that we would push, or where is the need to come and to replace these infrastructure things that we would take from our reserve fund? So what I'm trying to say is, I would welcome a discussion of accomplishing those things that we want to accomplish for our parks, if it needs additional funds beyond the $400K. And if that means, and not with all, I'm happy using the ARPA funding for these roofs, but if that means if we can pump up our park funding to get these things done, to get it ADA, to get the tot lot covers on, these different things, if that means perhaps with one roof even, maybe even the senior center roof or one of the roofs, using some of our general fund reserve, I would entertain that. I think that's a worthy thing to discuss as a council, of understanding that that this is ARPA funds and we're using it in a variety of different ways, but we also need to have a discussion about our general fund reserve and where we need to perhaps use some funds there to help our infrastructure.
So we did leave money on the table.
We left 210?
Right.
We did.
And we decided as we walked out of the room that was the thing to do, so that if we needed to put funds towards other things, if this is going to be problematic, I'm willing to put those funds towards parks, just allocate it towards parks.
And then we're done with it.
And move on. I understand that, to look at this, it's a large sum of money. The Boys and Girls Club is our building, and, we have an agreement with them to do certain work, but those buildings haven't been touched in years. All of these buildings are our buildings, and I understand maintenance needs to be done. We've done a hell of a job doing maintenance on all of these roofs for many, many, many years, the AC on all of these buildings. Our maintenance is spectacular because we've had to keep them running for 40, 50 years. I mean, we've done a great job. The AC in this building is, original since it was built after the earthquake. We have done a very good job with maintenance. Have we, we have a lot of money that we've put into parks through the ARPA funds. And I still believe that, putting ARPA money towards keeping our buildings presentable, safe, and functioning is very important. And I'm personally not willing to change any of this. I think, we did meet, we did discuss it. Some of this was in the first tranche of money, and we agreed as a group to put it back onto this second part so that we could put more money up front back into the community, and we did that. As far as the remaining funds, if you want to allocate those towards parks, I'm happy to do that right now as part of this.
I have another question. It is my understanding that if you do all the roofs at the same time and put in brand new roofs, then when one of them goes bad, all of them will go bad at about the same time. Perhaps in near times, but if they're all brand new, their life cycle should be about the same amount. So wouldn't it behoove us to stagger it a bit so that we make sure, and to use some of our ongoing maintenance money and to have preventative maintenance built up ahead of time so that we're not waiting for extra monies to come to us?
This is one-time money. This is a one-time expense. We're not using one-time money for ongoing projects. We
so
do
we'll
maintenance.
Never repair these roofs ever again.
We repair these roofs and AC every year. I mean, we talked to Dave about this behind closed doors. We know what the maintenance contracts are on all of these things. We spend a lot of money on maintenance. The HVAC, for example. I don't remember what the number was off the top of my head. It was a couple months ago when we met on that particular subject. But, yeah.
And see, I'm not saying that we shouldn't do these. I'm just saying that we should save more, because I walk to Rivers Park, and I go to, I walk all the parks, and I see the amount of work we need to do, particularly to Rivers, and we didn't get the grant that we were hoping to have. And so I would like to save a little bit of money of this, more than the 210, that would be available if specific needs are not met for downtown or for the needs of the people who really struggled through the pandemic, which is what this should be for. That's my final statement on
Okay, so we're going to be struggling here very quickly. We've done forecasts. We talked about it in our budget. We have no retail in town now with a downed economy. I don't know how many of you, but people aren't necessarily buying gas in town because our gas prices are really high. That's going to affect us. We don't have the retail to support sales taxes. William L. Morris, or not, I guess it's Bunnan now, sorry. They don't have cars to sell. So our tax dollars are declining quickly. The only thing that we're going to have pretty soon, that's going to keep us floating is property taxes. We don't have the tax base that other cities have, and we're seeing a huge decline, and we're going to continue seeing that decline. Our city is going to see some possibly very hard times in the very near future, 2 to 3 years ahead. We are going to have some hard times. We've seen hard times in the past, but it could get worse, especially now that we are faced with a recession, a very deep recession happening.
My very last statement on this is, I think that if we could help the theater get renovated so that it becomes an active theater,
we're going
that
to.
would bring people into our community And if we could put some of this money, instead of one or two of these roofs, put it to helping him renovate the theater so that we could have an active downtown theater for the new people that are here that like to come down downtown and would like to see things happening in our town. So I would like to propose that we hold off on a couple of these. I know that we've worked hard on this and it's been hard, and you've done a great job building up a reserve. But now we have a little reserve and we do need to be careful, but I think we need to also support the downtown. Make sure it moves ahead.
Government cannot support private business. We cannot give money to the theater. That is a privately owned business. We sold it. It's not ours. So this money can't go to that.
So why can't it go, why can we do the facade and we can't do the building?
It's the way the whole thing was put together. The facade is a grant. The money we are granting to businesses has to meet certain criteria through the state. We are meeting all of that. We can't give, it's not the same thing. If we give him money, why don't we give the guy next door money or the other building money? You can't do that. You have to offer it to everyone. So the grant funding that we're doing is for everyone to take advantage of.
Great. I agree. Absolutely.
Okay.
It should be available for everyone and have amount available for everyone to apply.
We did that. That's what the downtown project is. There's money there for everyone to apply.
Can I make a motion on this item? All right, thank you. All right, I've heard everyone. Thank you, council members. Thank you, Mayor, for all of your input. My motion is to accept the proposal of the second tranche, but with one exception, and that is the city elevator repair of $200,000 to that. And I say that, I know I'm in the middle of a motion, but I say that because that is something that must be done regardless of ARPA. To pull that out, to use general funds for the $200,000, and then thus leave a remaining fund balance of $410,739, and everything else be allocated as directed in the matrix.
I'll second that.
What are you asking be pulled out?
She's asking for the elevator to be pulled out.
Just the elevator to get pulled out, and everything else goes through
And then
ARPA.
we'll take that out of reserves.
Yeah.
That is the motion.
Okay, so that we would then have $410.
And we'd take the 200 out of our general fund reserves.
Right, so it would give 400,000.
But what would that leave our reserves at, Dave? Because I agree with Diane. We're not heading into
This is going to get
free open. We're going to have money flowing for the city. We're going to dig into those
Get
reserves
ready.
over the next 5 or 6 years.
We've already projected it. We know what we're looking at.
Right now, our reserve fund is close to $9 million, okay? But I think the one thing that we forget about is when I walked in the doors here, we had less than $100,000 in the reserve fund. City almost went bankrupt. They had over 15 to 20 million in reserve funds when they went into the last recession in California. That's why you see the hesitancy of spending down. It sounds like a lot of money, but that money will be used up in a year, 2 years maximum. And right now, we have an opportunity to use one-time monies from the federal government to address the needs that we've been able to duct tape for the past 10 years here at the city in terms of the roofs. All the roofs are from a 1 to 10, 1 being the worst, they're at a 1. So there isn't any one we can put off for another 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. So that's the reality that we're kind of living with the fund. Yes, there's funding there, but again, is how are we going to spend it, and that's city council's decision. And I will put the cautionary tale out there. We don't want to burn it down too quickly. We do know we have a potential recession coming. We don't know how it's going to impact us. One of our saving graces during the past 5-6 years has been our home building. Once the home building stops here in the community, that's when our budget's going to get super tight.
And it's already slowing.
And you're seeing it slow down. So that's kind of the overall background of how we're coming about, how we're making these recommendations moving forward. With these grant projects here, these are all things that have been talked about for the past 8-9 years during budget meetings, but we've never had the extra funds to put towards it. It's been a piecemeal here, here's 20,000 here, we'll tar paper on this spot over here, oh, another hole over here. 2 years ago, we actually had rain here, we had buckets in the finance department upstairs catching rainwater here at City Hall. So that's long story. That's a big picture right now. If we do have, because I took out the windows from the Boys and Girls Club, which I forgot to add into it. We have right now there's $265,000 available left that we could put towards any other project. Maybe we want to wait and see what the parks actually has to offer to us, what they're going to bring back, and then say, hey, we've held this back. These projects looks good. Let's get these going. There may be other items that they want to do that maybe you want to do something different instead of allocating all at one time. But they have a great list to look through right now. They're going through the process of putting together all the estimates right now for those items. Hopefully we'll get those back here in 2 to 3 months. But they're having a hard time getting quotes back with that. Staff would recommend doing what's currently on the list due to the history and the background we've been working through, so we have addressed it at one point in time, but ultimately it's City Council's decision. We'll carry out whatever you guys decide to do tonight.
Yeah, I do want to add to that while we're talking about the economy of Fillmore, that there are brand new houses that are built in the bridges that are not selling anymore. There's almost a whole street on Wisteria that's not sold, and so that really speaks to me about where the economy is in Fillmore and where the economy is overall. And when Americans receive the COVID money during the shutdown, a lot of people went out and bought Gucci handbags and did crazy things with them. But then a lot of people use them properly to, restore their house and do all of these things. And I see it very much that way, that we are restoring our house. We're governing over the city, and we are restoring, and we do have 210 left over, 211. And the money, as Dave mentioned, with the $300,000 with the downtown restoration project, we just might not have all of those businesses put in applications. We could receive that money back and then put it towards. But I agree with Dave with what you're saying with the having the money going into a recession is really important. So with that being said, does anybody else?
Well, we have a motion on the table, so I need to call a vote on the motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Me?
Nay.
Nay. Okay, so motion fails. So new motion.
I motion that we approve the project list and we reallocate the remaining funds to the parks.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second? Do I have a second for the motion?
Can you redo it without reallocating it to parks?
Yeah, I'll redo the motion with just approving the project list.
I'll second that.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay. All right, so, sorry, I'm trying to reorganize. Okay, we're going to move on to item number 8F. And this is an agreement with Southern California Edison to replace high-pressure sodium vapor streetlights. I'm going to turn that over to staff.
Thank you. They have a program called LS-1 Option E. It's a tariff. It's a turnkey program operated by Southern California Edison. It's offered to local governments to remove and replace the high-pressure sodium vapor lights throughout the community and install high-energy efficient, the LED streetlights. Everything is turnkey. It's handled by Southern California Edison. They do all the planning. We have approximately 850 Southern California Edison-owned lights here in town. It'll take them approximately 2 weeks once they get started. If the contract is approved, you're looking around a 7-month period of time for them to get started on the project. Once the lights are removed and replaced, the city will be looking at an annual savings of around $39,000 annually. And then after the 20 years, that's a payback period that Edison, they take a portion of the payback for the infrastructure. You're looking around $56,000 a year moving forward at that point in time. In addition, the lights are also dark sky compliant, which is important. So if you're a stargazer, want to look at the hills at nighttime, that's what they're there for. It also will improve the visual acuity, allowing the drivers and pedestrians and cyclists to see more clearly at nighttime. It's gives you much better visibility on the roadways. Locally, the County of Ventura, City of Oxnard, City of Camarillo, City of Port Hueneme, City of Moore Park, City of Santa Paula, and the City of Santa Clarita, they've gone through this process already and did their lights. Again, the Southern California Edison estimates about $39,000 annually. After 20 years, it goes up to around $56,000 annually in terms of savings to the city. Staff is recommending to approve the agreement to replace the high-pressure sodium lights with LED street lights. That's all I have.
I have a
Okay,
question.
any questions?
I have. I'm really pleased about the dark sky because not only does it improve those who like to look at stars, but it also helps those birds that are migrating and insects. I was surprised to hear about that. But how about bridges? I know that are any of these lights in the bridges, and are they dark sky, or will they still be aiming up?
I'm not sure if that may help. Kevin, do you know about the bridges? I don't know if I would presume that they're LED out there just because of how new they are.
So that would mean that they are the same. They would be dark sky?
I don't know specifically, but I would imagine they're LED. Now, whether they're dark sky, I'm not sure.
Okay. Yeah, I would assume LED, but I was hoping dark sky. Can we find out? Okay.
Okay, any other questions? Motions?
Okay, I'll make that motion to approve the agreement with SEC.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, item 8G, and this is authorization to award 3 contracts for the replacement of City Hall roof. Turn that over to staff.
Thank you. What I'm going to do is give an overview for all 3. And then next one's going to kind of go to the meat of it. We're asking City Council tonight to award 3 contracts for roof replacement at the city-owned buildings to Right Way Roofing Corporation. We are members of a group called Sourcewell. They were formerly the National Joint Powers Authority, which competitively bid construction tasks, so they get lower bid prices for municipalities. And also the California Government Code authorizes public agencies to participate in cooperative purchasing agreements like this established by Sourcewell, which it really means that we get a benefit of receiving nice lower bids. Also helps us to maximize cost savings and staff resources. And so we went out and talked with them. They went through their bid process and came back with Right Way Roofing as the lowest and best bidder for the project. The price for re-roofing City Hall, the police station, and the Active Adult Center total $594,878.28. If we break it down, the City Hall roof replacement is $189,000. The police station roof replacement is $241,000. And the Active Adult Center roof replacements around $164,000. Staff is requesting City Council approve an appropriation of $594,878.28 from the second allocation of ARPA funds for this project, and authorize the mayor to execute a contract with Right Way Roofing Corporation in an amount not to exceed $594,878.28 in a form approved by the city attorney. Alternatives are do not approve the appropriation or authorize the mayor to execute the contract. And the estimated completion date, if we give a notice by this Friday, we're looking at December 1st of 2022.
Just in time for rain.
And the contract's already written, ready to go. We get the approval.
Okay, any questions for staff? Motions?
I'll make that motion to, one, approve the appropriation of $594,878.28 from the second allocation of ARPA, and authorize the mayor to execute the contract with Right Way Roofing for an amount not to exceed $594,878.28.
I second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, item 8H, I imagine this is Dave, you again, probably?
Yes,
Award
yes.
contract for the replacement of the Boys and Girls Club's roof.
Yes, we're asking the city council to award a contract for the roof replacement at the Boys and Girls Club building to Mac 1 Development Incorporation. As you know, the city does own that building. Again, they went through Sourcewell, which we just discussed in the last item. And the submitted proposal is in the amount of $258,101.55. Staff is asking for approval to confirm an appropriation of $258,101.55 from the second allocation of ARPA funds for this project, and authorize the mayor to execute the contract with Mac 1 Development in an amount not to exceed $258,101.55 in a form approved by the city attorney. And this project is estimated to be completed by December 2nd of 2022.
Okay, questions for staff? Motions?
Are any of these companies that are doing roofing, do they hire locally? Do you know?
I do not know where they hire from.
Okay. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve or confirm the appropriation of $258,101.55 from the second allocation of the ARPA funds for this project, and authorize the mayor to execute a contract with Mac 1 Development, Inc. in an amount not to exceed $258,101.55 in the form approved by the city attorney.
I second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, item 8I. This is authorization for a contract for the replacement of the HV system at City Hall. Turn that over to staff.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, we're asking for City Council to award a contract for the HVAC replacement at City Hall. These are the original units to the building, to ACCO Engineering Systems is the company. They have submitted a proposed bid of $300,443.36. Staff is requesting City Council approve an appropriation of $318,443.36 from the second allocation of ARPA funds for this project, and authorize the mayor to execute the contract with ACCO Engineering Systems in an amount not to exceed $318,443.36 in a form approved by the city attorney. Alternatives not to approve the appropriation or authorize the mayor to execute the contract. And this is estimated to be completed by June 9th of 2023.
Okay, questions for staff or a motion?
I have a motion. I would make a motion to approve an appropriation of $318,443.36 from the second allocation of ARPA funds for this project, and authorize the mayor to execute a contract with the ACCO Engineering Systems in amount not to exceed $318,443.36 in a form approved by the city attorney. And I do this gladly as a person who freezes to death up here.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, item 9, committee, commission, and board reports. Nothing? Any, you guys, no? Okay, item number 10, City Council comments, recommendations, and comments.
I have one. I'd like to thank the Sheriff's Department. What a lovely evening it was. The sheriffs had an open house at Dolores Day Park, and it was well attended. People were pleased to be there. It was a wide variety of sheriff's services that were available, both English and Spanish. I just want to say thank you, Garo, to you and to the police department for doing that, or sheriff's department. It was really well done. And I have never seen such a big horse in my entire life that isn't pulling a wagon. And I also wanted to commend the staff on the hard work that they do in a difficult environment, as in cold or hot, but also ongoing support for the community. And I just wanted to say thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, city manager's report.
Thank you. Just a couple items tonight. One, if you notice from social media, we're asking residents to submit photographs. The city of Fillmore, what represents Fillmore, for our new website and for brochures to go out. If you have questions about it, please contact 805-946-1712, and I'll take you to our Assistant City Manager, Erica Herrera, as she's leading the charge with that right now for the various programs. Also, on August 16th, from 12 to 1:30 p.m. here at City Hall, we have entered a contract with Retail Strategies. They'll be doing a strategic visiting workshop. So if you're interested and would like to come and participate and share your comments about downtown, what you would like to see in the downtown area, we'll have representatives here from Retail Strategies. We will also have staff to help translate and interpret. If we need to have that here at the meeting, we'll have that as well for you. In addition to that, we do have a survey online if you're unable to make it, to fill that out and submit it. And we also ask you, if you'd like to, share it to your friends and family who may not live in the area but do come and visit, and have them feel free to share what they would like to see at downtown Fillmore as well in the Fillmore area. And then just one thing on the pool, we have been working for the past 3 weeks trying to get a vendor out to come out there and give us a quote for the analyzer for the chlorine, and staff is having to go out there and basically duct tape it to make it go in there. There's a window where you can have the chlorine levels in there, and so when it goes up, we have to shut it down. If we get it right, then we keep it open. So we appreciate the patience out there, the patrons, and hopefully get this thing taken care of. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to recess it into closed session tonight. We have one item to discuss, and that is to enable the City Council to consider negotiations and give directions to its negotiators regarding certain real property at 510 Santa Clara, and the city's real property negotiators, the city manager, city attorney will seek direction from the council regarding these price terms, whatever needs to be discussed for this property, and we'll come back and report out once we're done with that item. So thank you.